Hello everyone and welcome back to another very exciting episode of Experience Kills. I'm your host Ben and with me today is Cameron.
Hello!
It's lovely to have you back, Cam, and let's be honest, you're joining me for the big one. I have been waiting for this game for so long. It was delayed out of last year and finally we can talk about Doom Eternal. Are you excited?
I'm excited. So happy.
I know exactly what you mean. And at the top of the episode here, I just want to say thank you to Bethesda. They sent me the code for this well in advance, and I don't always give a shout out to that sort of thing, but this was really above and beyond, and I do want to say thank you to those guys for sorting me out with this. I was going to buy this game anyway. I was so excited for this game. We've just finished a series of first hours with all the previous Doom games in the series, in the franchise, all the way up to Eternal. And now I'm capping it off with what I can tell you right at the top here is not a disappointing game. This game has been a riot of fun.
Forget about the future.
Cam, did you wanna say anything before we get into this?
I kind of grew up with those games. I think you probably did as well. The whole, rip and tear, hack and slash. What the other verbs they used to describe the game? I had all the Doom. I had the kind of that style of like Duke Nukem back in the old days. All my brothers and everything. We all played the exact same games, and it's only gotten more and more incredible to see the massive changes, and I can't wait. I mean, admittedly, I'm gonna buy the same damn game. I don't care. I will sheepishly on that weekend buy it and get it and play it till my face melts.
And your face will melt.
Oh, good.
That I can tell you straight away. So Doom Eternal is a direct sequel to Doom 2016, and it basically it doesn't do a huge amount new, but it builds upon that foundation that this new Doom, this new id Software has created. So that combat puzzle, that combat ballet of aggressive kind of arena-based experience is now just developed, expanded upon, and now framed within the most over-the-top, hilarious, brilliant, po-faced, but at the same time almost satirical lore. It knows it's a video game at all times, and it doesn't shy away from that fact, and yet they have also gone out of their way to create a whole new kind of universe for Doom to sit in, and I don't really want to spoil that other than to say it expands things in ways that surprised me, made me giggle, and I loved it, it was brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I'm edge of my seat for a conversation about Doom. I haven't even played it yet. So excited!
And it goes into the start of the game here at a million miles an hour. That's one of the best things about this that's different to the first to Doom 2016, which is it doesn't give you a pistol. There is no pistol in Doom Eternal. Who wants that? Who uses that when you've got the shotgun? So you go straight in with the combat shotgun immediately, and they throw you into the world, into a combat arenas, and into getting in and understanding what the interlacing of mechanics means in Doom Eternal. So in Doom 2016, we had the idea that glory kills would give you health, right? So that's why they incentivized you to do those awesome graphic, gory, over-the-top glory kills. In addition, you had the mechanic of the chainsaw giving you ammo. Now, in Eternal, we've layered on top of that the idea that your flamethrower, which is this shoulder-mounted flamethrower, when that affects an enemy, that will give you armor. So you've now got another little layer put on top of that. But what it means is that even on like the normal setting of difficulty, which is what I'm playing at, and I think it's important to note that the amount of enemies in arena, that will not vary depending on the difficulty you're playing on. The only thing the difficulty affects is the amount of damage the enemies deal and the amount of damage they can take and you can take. So it's the same kind of pieces even on normal. And what it does is it encourages you to always be playing aggressively. Now, 2016 had this, but they've really doubled down on it in Eternal. It really is all about pushing forward. You are not going to get anywhere playing Doom Eternal in like a cover-based way, trying to hang back. You know, you need to always be moving and always be attacking. And it's so much fun stringing together a glory kill into a flame burst to pick up some more armor, into a chainsaw attack to get more ammo, to, you know, always moving around that arena, making a note of where that health pickup is, where that armor drop is, where that extra ammo is. So when you next make a circuit and you're on to the next wave of enemies, you know exactly where you've got to go to pick it up. Hit that jump pad, do an aerial attack, line up into another glory kill, move through again, and just keep going. And it's so visceral, and it's so exciting, and it's so well tuned. They've clearly spent so much time play testing this game. It has been honed into perfection. It is one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. It's truly amazing.
Wow, that's... well, this is gonna suck. I'm lost for words.
We'll just sit here and listen to camera go.
I mean that this sounds just incredible. I'm assuming kind of the old familiars are coming back for the new game. So you got the super shotgun. I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm sure all the demons from the previous game are they coming back as well? Are they kind of?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't remember any that have been missed. They're all back, and then there's more. There's lots of new ones as well that have been inspired by the demons from Doom 2.
Okay.
So we've got things like that coming into Eternal as well. They've kind of done a thing. It's difficult. I don't want to spoil some of the cool kind of revelations that you get, but they've done a thing to sort of balance out what the demons are giving you against your own play set, the abilities that you have. So there are demons that are going to be a part of Eternal that are kind of constructed to combat the Doomslayer, and they're a real challenge. This game is not easy, even on like the normal setting. You really need to sort of think about the combat chess elements that you're playing, and you're really thinking now more than you ever did in 2016 how to utilize the fodder enemies. So fodder enemies are really important for getting things like the ammo and the health from the glory kills off of them, because you're going to be running around these arenas getting that stuff so that you can then fight the kind of the heavy enemies that are in that arena with you at the same time. So you're using them to give you what you need to combat the true threat.
Sacrificing a pawn to take down a king sort of thing.
Well, I mean, they're all enemies to you,
obviously.
but it's a case of you're kind of farming them for.
Right. Okay. Now I get you.
Yeah. So you're getting what you need to combat the big bad guys from those smaller enemies, and that's really cool. One of the awesome visual things they've done, which is so cool, but like works really, really well, is that they've now got like really gory visual representation on the enemies to the damage you deal out on them. So imagine like a Hell Knight charging you down, you know, the big gorilla type demons from 2016, and when you're shooting them with your shotgun or your plasma rifle, whatever, you're blowing chunks off them. So you're like blowing bits off their legs and their arms and their head and their chest, and you can see all the damage that's being done to them as they're like charging you down, and it's a visual representation of kind of like where they are in their sort of like health meter before you can then put them into the staggered state so you can glory kill them. So you can see it, you can actually see it on them, and it's so cool and it's so gory and over the top. It's amazing.
Wow. I keep using the same word, incredible, because it's just so fitting. You said it's a set about 2 years after Doom 16. If I recall right, you were kind of just randomly teleported at the end of the game. I'm assuming back into hell. This has directly come to it, so it's like, do you spend most of the time kind of in hell? Does the environment kind of change within an area? Is there more? Are we back on Mars?
So everything you just said, everything. Back on Mars. Well, yeah. Hey, mate. fighting on Earth, taken over by the demons. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, that part I didn't actually read up on. Now that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's the environment kind of variety has been times 10. Like, there are so many different places that you go to in this game. You're flying around the solar system and dimensions, and I don't want to spoil it because there's some really cool places that you end up. And one of the big parts of these environments now is what they've kind of stepped up in Eternal. And I mentioned that not a lot was new about Eternal, but this is pretty new actually, because obviously traversal in 2016 was all about speed and arenas and getting around. But now we've got kind of like more of a mobility elements to the Slayer. So you've got things like climbable walls, you've got sort of monkey bars that you can swing on and swing between areas, and there's kind of like getting around the environments as sort of puzzles in themselves sometimes, and they can be quite challenging actually. You have to really think about your abilities and look around the environment and work out where you've got to go next, and it's a bit of like environmental puzzles which are quite fun to do. They're a nice diversion from just the intense combat. And I think what's interesting as well to bear in mind, and it's so different to so many other first-person shooters, is that these levels are not short. A Doom level, I would say, averages between 60 and 90 minutes, and in Eternal, so you'll have multiple combat arenas, you'll have oodles of secret areas to explore, you'll have these environments to traverse around, you'll have puzzle mechanics that you have to work out, including things like moving blocks and like climbing areas and all kinds of stuff like that. And there's a lot in these levels, and there's a lot of like, it actually reminded me a bit more of original Doom from the 90s, where, you know, there were secrets and puzzles and you had to really work your way through those environments. They were very much like mazes sometimes, and some of that creative level design has definitely inspired what they've tried to do with Eternal, whereas 2016 was actually quite, I think, inspired by Doom 3 in some ways. It was quite linear, it was quite obvious what you needed to do. You didn't have to usually think your way around areas too much. All you had to really do was stare at that pretty awful map screen, which by the way is much better now, and like go, oh, that's an area I need to get to find another upgrade. And yeah, now in Eternal it's kind of much more like the environments aren't as obvious, that things require a little bit more thought to get around between the big combat environments and the big combat arenas.
Okay.
And they're fun to explore because there's so much variety in these environments, because you're going to these crazy places with this environmental storytelling that helps build the lore. You want to explore, you want to discover more about what it means to be the Doom Slayer, how you relate to these hell creatures and the Argent and the stuff that's come from 2016 that's all just expanded upon. You know, there's a codex like there was in 2016, but there's even more that you can read up on now than even in that, and there's so much going on in that area as well. It's really just overflowing with content and creativity and just reasons to explore not just the environments, not just the combat arenas, but the lore and the story as well.
Bring you peace. Only make the burden you carry worse.
Good. That's what I want. The story in 2016 was probably one of the, as well as the combat, obviously. Like, I'll play a game for a story more than anything most of the time. So the fact that it had, I wouldn't say amazingly gripping, but like there was an interesting kind of mystery behind everything that kept me enthralled, rather than, you know, next room, oh, demons to kill again. But the fact it was broken up, I feel, quite nicely with the story. And it sounds like I'll be doing a lot more than just I'll be building up the story myself. I'll be finding the tell it. I love it. I love to explore and find the secrets. So to find and put the pieces together and figure out the whole mystery, I'm gonna love this game a lot more.
They've really blown it out. Like they've taken, you know, those little baby steps they sort of made in 2016. They established that the Doom Slayer was some kind of mythical avenging angel from outside of time. You know, this kind of idea that there's more to you than just a dude on a rampage through monsters. And they've taken that and they've built out an entire universe around it, and it's utterly insane. And they don't really usher you into it, in an Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 structure. You're just sort of thrown into the deep end, and it's like, yeah, look, I know there's going to be people here that you just want to, jib as many monsters as you can, but other people are going to really want to dig into this and find out about it and like expand upon the Doomslayer mythos, and they've given you that as well, which is really cool. So I want to kind of, it's interesting because there's obviously lots of kind of aspects of lore in here, some environmental storytelling, but let's get back to some of the mechanics, because something Eternal has done here is it's given you even more in the way of upgradable skills and guns. So you remember in 2016 you had the sort of the gun upgrade systems and the Praetorian suit upgrade systems, and you've got that's back, a little bit tweaked. You've got runes on top of that, and the runes kind of affect your kind of play style, and they kind of give you different power-ups regarding things like slowing down time to help take the enemies out if you're coming in from an aerial attack, affecting your blood punch, which is another one of the core mechanics, which is a melee strike that takes out several enemies around you if you need to just get a bit of space, and that charges up based on glory kills. So there's another one of those interactive mechanics that kind of combines into that chess pieces of, combat mechanics and stuff, which is really cool. And then you've got collectibles, like toys, like soundtrack stuff. And then you've got these sort of like energy cells that you collect, which, big important thing in Eternal here, you have a home base where you go back to and you can like unlock stuff and you can like explore. It's got loads of cool things in it, and you've got like a cool office in it which has got these, I kid you not, it's got heavy metal guitars on the wall. Like it's so like a dude's lair, but it's times a million. It's got all this ridiculous over the top metal paraphernalia everywhere. Everything's dripping in this like heavy metal style. And then you've got the things you can unlock in the base and explore, elements that add to the lore inside the base as well. And that's just a lot of fun, and it gives you a bit of a sense of place and a sense of like home and reason, which I think is kind of fun, and it gives you a bit of a impetus to go forth and that there's just more going on than just shooting demons. It all kind of adds to that. I've loved how they've kind of looked at the gore and how well people responded to the violence of 2016, and it's not because it's graphic, it's because it's over the top, because it's another kind of feedback loop. You know how if you're playing Bejeweled or something and you get like a reaction, or Peggle, and the screen flashes, doesn't it, when you match things up and you do well? Doom gives you that by ripping monsters' heads off and skewering them on blades and shoving them into walls and stamping through their skulls, and they absolutely understand that it's the same feedback but in a visceral, guttural, violent way. It's like an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon from The Simpsons times 1,000 every second if you want it to be. And when you're stringing it all together, as you'll see in this video as you watch this review, you feel like the ultimate badass, and it just gives you this power fantasy, but it's not hollow. It's not like you're just running into an area with an LMG like in a Call of Duty and just murdering loads of dudes. The power fantasy is earned. Because you're using those mechanics, you're thinking about this combat chess, and you're linking things together in such a way that there is a real challenge to it. And if you play lazy, you're gonna get killed again and again and again. And you have to engage your brain at the same time. And I think that's what makes it so rewarding. One thing I wanted to try, but I wasn't able to because obviously I'm playing this pre-release, the servers were not up. So the battle mode, which is this asymmetrical multiplayer game where you're the slayer against two demons, or you play as one of the demons from a selection of five or so different demon character classes, and they're all customizable, and you can have like different loadouts for them and all of this. Sadly, the servers aren't up for that, so I can't play that, and I can't give you my feedback on how well that works, but I'm sure we'll be talking about Doom Eternal on podcasts and other videos and whatnot going into the future. But it sounds like a cool mode. I'm keen to play it. One of the things I've really liked about this is that we were talking about the home base and some of the customization elements. So it's crazy. The main menu has a customization option, and you have got different skins for the Slayer, for all the different demons. You've got different weapon skins you can unlock. You've got different like emotes, almost like victory poses and intro poses for all your characters, and all of that carries over into the single player game as well, especially for the Slayer. And then is then in the cutscenes as well. So I've got things like the original Doom 1 armor unlocked, and I have that on my guy, and it shows that in the cutscenes, and it shows that when you can like see the arms of the character or whatever, or when you do a glory kill, and you can see the different skin. And it's just like there's no microtransactions, and it's all just there that you unlock it as you progress through the levels and you get experience points. Obviously that's going to play a big part in battle mode as well, where you'll be able to get experience from that. But I think that's predominantly where the customization comes from. But yeah, it's also conveyed in the single player. And it's just like, here's some fun. It's just fun. Much more than 2016, Eternal understands that it's a video game. You can tell that from the little elements that in the game, the things like the ammo pickups and the health pickups, they look really out of place. They look really cartoony. They're basically very, very visually kind of immediately identifiable because you're moving around at such a rate, at such speed around these arenas, that you need to be able to know exactly where the health is, exactly where the ammo is, what type of ammo it is, you know, because you're juggling your weapons, you're picking the weapons that are right for the situations. You know, demons now have things like weak spots, so if you want to take out a Mancubus's arm cannons, you might need to switch to your heavy machine gun and switch to the precision mode on that, so you can take out the arm cannons from a little bit of range before you go in and deal with him. It comes together so very, very well, Cameron, in these, you know, expansive, environmentally interesting, lore-filled, you know, worlds with just loads going on. And my word, it really is a triumph of game design, of fun, of just riotous colour, and a ballet of murdering movement. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I just want the game. That's all I need now.
Is there anything you wanted to know? I've been talking for quite a while here about Doom, and I could probably talk a lot longer about it, but ask me some questions.
No, I'm just everything you've said has just got me more and more excited for the game. And, I've lost all any other questions I've had in my head that I had for you. I genuinely have. You've answered everything I need, and the answer is yes. Buy it.
One more thing. And because it's super important because of how good it was in 2016, and that is the soundtrack. Mick Gordon's back. He stepped it up. He's changed it up as well. It's not like exactly the same as 2016. And I think the challenge for them has been that these levels are bigger, they're more expansive, there's more variety in the environment, so therefore conveying, you know, a coherent musical through line, a through connection has been a bit more difficult. It's shredding. It's still ripping it up. They've got the heavy metal choir in there, and it kicks in at just the right moments, and it helps just oomph everything up. My wife doesn't like it when I'm playing video games super loud, but she said to me this week while I've been playing Doom, I understand. I'm gonna go upstairs. You play it at the Doom level of sound, but you need it loud, basically. And she gets that, and I've had it pumping out way, like, my neighbours probably aren't too happy right now, but yeah, it's part of the Doom experience. It's part of the Doom experience. It has to be done. Yeah, so the shotgun blasts are going off when the heavy metal is shredding, and that soundtrack's kicking off, and I'm just flying around the arena, chaining together glory kills. Mate, it's just gaming nirvana. It really is. But it sounds to me like we've come to the end of this episode of Experience Kills. Is that fair?
Oh, sounds fair. Thank you for having me on.
But that's another episode of Experience Kills. I hope you enjoyed this episode about Doom Eternal, out, hopefully out very soon at the time you're listening to this, if you're listening to this when it goes live. But it's out on March the 20th on basically every platform. I think it's even coming to Switch at some point. Christ knows how this would work on the Switch. People like to ask this, so I played it on the Xbox One X, so that's probably the highest end console hardware you can play it on. That's running at an upscaled 4K resolution, and I would say 95 to 99% of the time at 60 frames per second. It's looked great, looks smooth, plays really well, and it's been fantastic. I highly recommend you guys check out Doom Eternal right now. It truly is a fantastic sequel to Doom 2016. I've been Ben. You can find me at DIYU on Twitter. Cameron doesn't exist on Twitter. Very sensible move. But you can also find Experience Kills at Experience Kills. And now we actually have a website as well. So you can find us at www.experiencekills.co.uk if you want to check out the website. And that's been Doom Eternal, mate. I've been waiting for that for such a long time. And I hope everybody gets their hands on it and enjoys it as much as I have.
Nice.
Yeah. So until next time, arrivederci.
Arrivederci, mon frère. Thought I just butchered 2 languages there for us.
You did. You kind of pushed the Italian and the French together.
I'm going to be waiting for eternal time for this game.